This is the Electric Jack, and today we're going to do a product overview and answer some of your questions. Hope you're hungry because we're serving up some hot, juicy information. We're going to start at the top and work our way down the jack, explaining each one of the features and why they exist. Starting with the top cap. Because this is a battery-powered jack, and we don't need an impact to run off the top of it, what it did is freed the top of the jack and allowed us to put a V-groove or a top cradle here. Now this is something that we designed and created. It's a first in the industry. It allows you to recover your rolled over vehicle in just minutes by yourself. Using the hook and this cap, you're able to get the car from either the roof or its side back onto the wheels with very little effort and getting you back on the trail safely. Next up is the battery interface. Now we've made this as a two-piece interface. The reason for that is because we offer multiple battery options for this jack, both Milwaukee and DeWalt. The really cool part about it being two-piece is should you buy one and decide or switch over to the other brand later down the road, you can give us a call. We can actually get you just the outer portion of this. You're able to make that switch and move on to the different brand. We use a mil-spec triple sealed switch here. This does all of the function for the jack. There is no solid state, there's no computers, there's nothing inside this that is going to get fouled up if it gets dusty or wet. And it's just the flip of a switch, jack goes up or jack goes down. It's about all the effort you're gonna use. And for those of you wondering about connections, both the switch and all the points inside the jack use eyelets instead of the standard spade connector. Now this is important because an eyelet uses a screw to mechanically connect the wire to its component, ensuring the part won't fall off. Whereas a spade is just a friction fit. It's essentially a channel sliding over a terminal, and vibration can cause this to come loose or fall off. Now you see on the outside of the switch there is this aluminum housing. This is here to protect the switch itself. If you drop it or slide it across something, you know that the actual knob is going to stay intact and that the jack is going to continue to work. The motor we chose is a compact 12-volt motor that uses very little amperage. Now I know what you're saying, but Brian, it's an 18-volt battery. But we're actually supercharging the motor or overdriving it 50% with that extra voltage to get more performance out of a smaller package. And don't worry, your 18-volt battery will not hurt this 12-volt motor. And how's this tiny motor lift 2,000 pounds of weight? The gearbox. It's a double reduction gear set that drives into a clutch assembly. The clutch's job is to set the weight capacity of the jack. Now we adjust this by shimming the spring set inside the clutch. And the reason this is important is the clutch will actually release pressure before you can overload the jack, protecting the internal components and ensuring reliability and longevity. You'll know when the clutch is engaged because it makes an audible sound. Below the clutch is a thrust bearing and an Acme thread. This is actually what's doing the driving or the lifting of the jack. The 2.5-inch outer housing is made of a thick wall aluminum to support the load. And what you'll also notice is the clutch assembly runs into the outer housing at the same diameter. What we've done here is give you an additional 17 inches of height adjustment for the collar for you to preset your lifting point before ever using any of the travel of the jack. In addition to that height adjustment, the collar itself is actually quick release, can be adjusted to any height within that 17 inches, as well as 360 degrees around the body of the jack, giving you a ton of versatility. Now you'll notice on the outside of the adjustable collar, there's a keyway here. Now this was done instead of a pin design so that we could create a modular system. The hook actually has two lifting options. A 3x4-inch flat pad that you can lift under suspension components or to pick up the entire side of the car, or the J-hook you see down here, which is used to pick up on tubular items. One example where this is really effective is say if your wheel comes off and now your brake rotor and hub are in the dirt. With a traditional lifting setup, the points are too low for the jack to engage. But with the hook on the electric jack, you can actually lower this to the ground level, grab onto a suspension component and get the car up high enough to perform the repair and get you back on the road. Now what's unique about these is they actually weld to your car. You can put them on your suspension or your chassis, And with them, you're able to mechanically connect the jack by engaging into the jack point. So once lifted, the two are physically locked together. This means that you can stand on the car, you can shake it. If you're working on it, you're not worried about the jack tipping over and the car falling off. We've also provided extra material on the back side of the weld-on jack point. Should you want to install this on an arm that has an angle or a radius, as well as allowing you to create your own custom adapter should your application be different than what we have here. We attach the pad through a cross bolt. Now this is done so that you can fold the pad flat for storage. Also, when in the stored position, you can use the pad like a shovel. A quick side note, you'll notice there's a secondary set of holes here. If you don't like the articulation that the pad has, simply cross pin this and you will lock the pad in place. On the bottom of the pad, you'll see a concave design. Now the reason for this is actually to compress the sand. As you press the jack down into the sand, that concave design collects the sand directly under it, compressing it and creating a stronger base than a flat pad would. Be ready for anything with the AGM electric jack.